Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 2.5. Here's your objective. I will be able to compare and order fractions, decimals, and percents. Alright, so when we compare, we're going to compare with less than, greater than, and equal to. So you have to remember those signs. Less than, greater than, and equal to. And then we'll put them in order from least to greatest as well. Alright, so what would I do? What I would do, and if I'm comparing 5/8 to 7/12, is I would turn everything into a decimal right away. Alright, so if you remember turning a fraction into a decimal, we could just do the division method. This is 5 divided by 8. So 5 divided by 8. How many times does 8 go into 5? 0. How about I have to annex a decimal into 0? How many times does 8 go into 50? Well, 8 goes 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 6 times. Got to bring my decimal up and subtract, and I get a 2. Annex another 1, bring it down. 8, 16, 2 times. And then I get a 4, annex 1 more 0, bring it down. 8 goes into 45 times. So I'm going to erase all this work up here. You would keep your work there. But 5/8 is the same thing as 625 thousandths, or 0.625. So I'm just going to rewrite that below and do my next one. This is 7/12, all right, which is the same thing as 7 divided by 12. Now 12 goes into 7 0 times. How many times does 12 go into 70? You just got to skip count. 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72 would be too far, so it goes 5 times. Bring my decimal up. Sorry, 60, yep. 70 minus 60 equals 10. But you know what? I am not going to continue, because I could already see this is 0.5 something, and this is 0.625. What's bigger? Well, you compare the tenths, 0.6 and 0.5, 0.6 is bigger. Alright, so 5/8 is greater than 7/12. Now I could have continued this if I wanted to. Alright, sometimes you might have to go all day long or get a repeated decimal, but we wouldn't want to do that, so I'd have to add another 0 and go on. Why waste our time? If already I could see that 0.6 is greater than 0.5, like I could have stopped this one earlier too, with just the 0.6 and then had the 0.5. Sometimes you have to keep going. So after you get into the tenths or hundredths, then you could probably stop. But right here I could stop on the tenth because I knew 0.5 was less than 0.6. Alright, but sometimes you have to order the fractions from least to greatest, so that's kind of a lot of work right there. So let's just start off with a half. That's a lucky one because that is just 0.5. I'm already done with that one. 3/4 I should already know is 75%, or 0.75. Alright, so my only real work I have to do on this one is 5/7 and 9/14. Let's start with the 5/7 over here, which is 5 divided by 7. 5 divided by 7. Well, 7 goes into 5 0 times. Put my decimal. 7 goes into 50. Well, 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 7 is 49. So it's 0.7 minus my 49. I get a 1. Annex another 0. 7 goes into 10 one time. I'm going to stop there for now. All right. This is 0.71 something. Now I might have to continue it, but I already know that 0.71 is less than 0.75 and it's greater than 0.5. So as long as 9/14 is not 0.71 something, I could stop there. So I'm going to erase my work in hopes that I don't have to continue. My last one I have to figure out is 9/14, which is 9 divided by 14. All right, 14 can't go into 9, but 14 can go into 90. Annex my 0, put my decimal up. Now, a lot of us might not know how to count by 14, so you might guess and check. 14 times 6, let's start with that. And I get 24, 84 total. So that worked out for me. So it's 0.6 minus the 84 over here. But do I have to continue? No, because this is 0.6 something. So no matter what I do, I can continue this and go all day long if I needed to, but I don't have to. All right? If I were to continue, it would be a 6, and it's another 0. How many times is 14 going to 60? And we'd get that number. But like I said, you don't have to, so let's not do it. All right, so the biggest number is, this is from least to greatest, so the smallest number, look at the tenths. The 5 is the smallest tenth. So I can't, when I rewrite it from least to greatest, I have to keep it in its original form. So 1/2 is my least. Then my next least would be, well, looks like it's still in the same order, the 9/14. Okay, because 0.6 is the next lowest. Now, the only change is these two. 0.75 and 0.71, they have the same tenth to start. So I look at my hundredth, and 5 is bigger than 1. So 5/7 is the next biggest, but the biggest one was the 3/4. So here is my answer. It's a lot of work. All right, you have to be patient with these, but I think you can get it. So some things to remember when you're doing this is do the work off to the side and write your decimal below the fraction. And then when you put them in order, you have to put them back in fraction form. That's why this is kind of like taking notes for ourselves. All right, so this 1/2 was 0.5. All right, so these go together, and then you have to put it back in fraction form. All right, so it's a lot of work, but I think you can handle it. A lot of erasing. All right, now sometimes, I know it's going to be a little bit of a longer video. All right, I'm sorry. But sometimes you have to compare, let's say, fractions and decimals, or percents and fractions. I think the easiest thing to do is always turn it to a decimal. 0.7, 7/10 is already done. So I don't have to convert that. And we should all know that 3/4 is 0.75. You could do the division 3 divided by 4 to see that, but you should know by now. So I know 0.7, 0.7 are equal, but this one has a 5, and that would be a 0 right there. 5 is bigger than 0, so 3/4 is greater than 0.7. Looking below, neither of these are decimals, but let's turn this percent into decimal right away. I would just have to swoop it 2 to the left. I have 0.85, so I'll write myself a note down there, 0.85. And this one is just 7 divided by 8. So I got to do the work. 7 divided by 8. 8 goes into 7 0 times. 8 goes into 70. Now 8 times 8 is 64. All right. So I have to bring down my 6. Now I do have to continue this one. That was 0.85 and this one's 0.8 so far. So I do have to continue it. Now 8 times 7 is 56. But I could stop right there because I know 0.87 is bigger than 0.85. So 85% is less than 7/8. Okay? Biggest thing to remember today as you're about to go off on your own is convert everything to a decimal. You only have one problem, but you have to do 4 things on this one problem. Order these from least to greatest. Turn each one into a decimal. All right? So these are commas right there. Those aren't ones. These are all commas. Comma, comma. So you should know right away that 1/2 is 0.5. So that one's already done for you because you should know that. All right? And you should know what that 3/4 is. 9/10, that's a pretty easy one to turn into a decimal. And I think 4/5 as well. This is a very fair question. Order them from least to greatest, but put them in fraction form when you order them. Your work should show what each one is as a decimal. All right, and then order them. All right, good luck. We'll see you soon.